Coops.
Yeah, mate, I guess we just start talking. It's pretty much what I do for a living, isn't it?
It is, mate. And now you're getting paid to do it.
I'm getting paid for this. Far out. I have to get you to reimburse me for the lunch I just had.
Did you cop it?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I got breakfast and lunch.
Really?
Yeah.
Both?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder they went to nice places.
Yeah, only one of them offered. The other one,
Who offered Ben?
no.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
He ordered $100 platter of sushi and,
really?
yeah, fair income. $100 platter of sushi and 2 beers. I mean,
For himself?
no.
Oh.
No, to share.
Yeah.
To
fair
share.
enough. But you don't mind paying for good blokes?
Oh, mate, I don't mind at all. I mean, that's what I said, because Lachlan offered this morning.
No, but I'll fix you up 100%.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Well, at least everyone else knows that's going to happen then. So if you're listening at home, feel free to call into Blended Employment and find out whether Declan has actually, in fact, reimbursed me.
No, mate. You'll have money in your account this afternoon.
No, that's all right. But yeah, no, it's yeah, because Lachlan goes, oh, mate, I can grab it. Oh, well, you know, for the business, so that'd be all right. Like, I'll just write it off. And he goes, oh, I can do the same. I went, yeah, mate, you're paying us. He goes, that's a fair point, actually. Yeah, maybe we should get something back from this. Fair enough.
Mate, I used to get told that's what my commission was for.
Yeah, I got told that in a previous role as well. I thought, well, clearly
I never want to get paid commission
I
again.
thought clearly we're not making enough money as a business. I was like, yeah, and I had that as well. It wasn't just taking out clients. It was buying coffee for everyone in the office. It'd be like, you'd go out and you buy like, and we know where this is. You go out and you're buying 5 coffees.
Oh, you get pillaged.
Yeah, but I'm just like, why does this come out of my commission to pay for you guys? I'm not getting business out of you. You employ me and pay my salary. Why don't you just pay me less and give me coffee? I don't know.
Should we get coffee cards at work?
Oh, mate, it doesn't really affect me.
Oh, yeah. No, we can get you a coffee card.
I got a
I've got
machine.
at home. Yeah, we got one here. But no, that's good, mate. So I thought it'd be good for us to sit down and have a chat. It's been 12 months this week.
Yeah, it'll be it's the 21st.
The
wasn't
Sunday.
it? Yeah, it'll be Sunday.
Sunday will be 12 months.
I won't be working on my 12-month anniversary.
No, mate. Everyone gets a day off in their 12 months.
Yeah, perfect.
Yours by default.
So gracious.
But no, mate, I thought we'd go down history lane. I'm sure there's a lot we don't know about each other, even though we work together every day.
Could do, probably.
You're a elite athlete.
Oh, let's
Hey,
put that in.
you've travelled the world. There's so much stuff to chat about, mate.
Well, mate, let's put the elite athlete thing in. In bloody, let's put him in that, because I had this conversation with Lachlan this morning, actually, because I was talking about waterpolo and I was talking about QAS, and I just have to like put out a disclaimer to everyone and just go, I wasn't that good. But I had the opportunity, and everyone wants to live that sporting dream for a while. So I thought, you know what? Might as well soak it up while I can.
And milk it.
Yeah.
How far did you go? Queensland Academy of Sport.
Yeah.
But you were playing with heavy hitters.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean...
What happened that you didn't go AIS?
Well, they don't have a program for a start, and I'm just not good.
Oh, see? So you went to the top.
But I'm also not that good.
You went to the top.
Just not that good, mate.
And what positions are you in water polo?
Well, I actually started out as a goalkeeper. More or less started out. I started out playing field. And
so you still call it field even though you're in a pool?
Yeah. Yeah. So you got field players and a goalie. And then when I would have been... I started when I was 10. When I would have been maybe 12. Because the other age groups in water polo, you got... Well, when I was playing, you had 13s, 14s, 16s and 18s. Now they got a 15s as well. So when I was 12, our goalkeeper moved up to under 14, so we didn't have a goalkeeper. And I thought, oh, you know what? Like, this seems like an all right position. I don't have to swim as much. So I thought goalkeeper sounds good. Played that pretty much my whole life until I was 17, turning 18. My final year of like junior water polo.
Yeah, right.
And basically we had one of my mates, he was one of the Australian keepers for my age group. He ended up coming over to the same club that I played for. And I was just like, well, I'm not getting a lot of game time if this is happening. So I thought I'll just go and play field for a different club, and did that and fortunately enough, I was doing a bit of coaching at the time, like junior coaching, and doing a bit of refereeing at a relatively high level at a junior nationals level. And QAS were bringing on a whole bunch of people from my age group, and they said, "Oh, well, it'd be good to have you there to develop your skills for coaching." And I thought, yeah, great. Now I can tell people I'm a QAS athlete, but I'm really not there for my skill. I'm there to learn.
So is that how you actually became a QAS athlete?
Pretty much, mate. Yeah, they had no interest of me doing much playing wise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, realistically, even from playing National League, I only played a handful of games. As I said, you know, you make that jump so late in your life to doing a different element of the sport that's completely different. You're playing catch up anyway, and I'm 5'10". I'm not.
Oh, how big's an average? Are they big boys?
Oh, in Australia, probably like 6'1", 6'2", but you look at Europe and they're all 6'6", 6'7".
Because it's an aggressive sport below the water, below the level. Hey, the surface.
Yeah. Depending on to a degree. I think it gets spoken up more so as more aggressive than it actually is. You know, it's quite physical. There's a lot of holding and a lot of grabbing, but and you know, there's knees and punches and kicks and everything thrown, and it's no different to the dirty niggle that you get in any other
Rugby.
sport. 100%. But
what's the worst situation you've been involved in?
Nothing for me, mate. Nothing really.
I suppose you barely even get wet being a coach.
Yeah, exactly. they don't let me in the pool. That's why. But you know, I think the concept of how aggressive and rough it is from everyone that's ever played it kind of and had a crack at it, that comes from say like a rugby and everything background. They got this preconceived notion, so they go in there throwing hands.
Oh, right.
Whereas when you know at a higher level, it's way more. It's not as violent. It has, you know, it has tendencies, but yeah, nothing over the top.
It's all by the book.
Yeah.
So then you dusted that career and you thought, hey, this isn't paying the bills anymore.
Yeah, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to sign that lucrative $400,000 contract in Italy. So I thought I'd go off and do something else, and moved into door knocking, which I'm not sure if I really should be telling people on a public forum, but
no, I think you should. I reckon the personal development you get from knocking on a stranger's door is huge.
Yeah, it
teaches you a lot of foundational skills that you can't learn unless you've knocked on a door.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're probably right, to be fair. You know, it's I got into it. It was completely on accident as well, because they don't market themselves as door knockers because no one had joined. I remember I was looking at Seek, and I was just doing hospo work at the time, and the Seek ad was something like, "Are you interested in sport? This is the place for you." And I was like, this is the place for me. And so I go to this meeting in this office wearing business attire, and people around me in business attire, and there's like first interview was about 15 minutes. Anyway, and then got called back for the second interview, walk in for a second interview, which was not a second interview, it was an onboarding, which I didn't even realise, that went for a full day. It was a full day. I'm thinking, this is a weird interview, right?
What suburb are you in? Like, what's the environment?
Milton.
In an office?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
With about 12, 14 other people, all wearing business attire. I was thinking...
How old were you?
How old was I? 22?
Yeah, okay.
Would that be right? It would have been 2018.
So
yeah,
you're old enough to know that this shit's a bit odd. This isn't usually how business works.
Yeah. So confused. And my first thought was...
What was everyone else thinking in the room?
Probably the same thing. First thought was, when does sport come into this? Like, first thing that I thought. Anyway, and we go through all this stuff, and they're talking about their business, and they do not once mention door knocking. Not once. Anyway, and you go through it all, and they go at the end, "Oh yeah, we actually want to offer you all the job. You know, you're all coming on board. You know, and you find out that it's sales." And I'm thinking, great, I've got a job, got a corporate job. This is awesome. And
be a sales exec for
100%,
Brisbane Lions.
mate, 100%. They don't tell you what you're selling or anything either. Anyway, and so they go, well, you guys, you start on Monday. The I should say as well, the onboarding was bad enough because one of my best mates is actually moving to LA the night before.
So you're hungover.
So we'd been out at the bloody Re until about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to get one of my friends to drive me all the way back to Wakerley from Ashgrove so that I could shower, and then drove me all the way back to Milton. So the fact that I even decided to onboard me after that was remarkable in itself, and I probably should have known something was up, shouldn't I? They're not really choosing too difficult here. Anyway, and they go, yeah, so come back. You start on this Monday. Just make sure you come in, business attire, make sure you bring runners. Thought, okay, maybe here's where the sport starts. Why am I bringing runners? Are we going to play like touch footy or something as a group team building activity? You show up on the first day. They go, you got your runners? Yeah. You got shorts? You didn't say anything about shorts? They, oh, well, you're lucky it's winter still, so you probably won't need them.
And can you research the company and get any idea about what they do in the meantime?
Yeah, but that doesn't really say it even then. It doesn't really say, there's no explicit area that it says you are going to go out and knock on strangers' doors. And anyway, and so...
And it's all residential. There's no B2B.
No. So that would have bit nice, wouldn't it? Bit of B2B sales experience, but come in and they go, yeah, well, what we're going to do is we do training, we do role play, we do all that kind of stuff, and then we go out and we hit the field. All right. Okay, cool. What are we actually selling? Then you find out what it is. You find out you're selling the Marta Prize Home raffles, and you go, oh, I know these people. And they go, yeah. So we go around, we knock on people's doors, and I was like, what? I'm walking around in trousers. I'm going out. My first day was out in, I can't think of where it was. It was out west somewhere, or maybe not west. I don't know. It was almost a 2-hour drive.
And do you get in the van and like pump each other up? And
that all happens in the office.
Yeah.
It's a proper sales den in there. There's music blasting, there's people yelling, there's people role playing, like, just weird environment. So yeah, I drove all the way out, 2 hours out. It's 27 degrees out. I'm walking around in trousers and sneakers, mind you. So I look like an idiot already. Knocking on random strange people's doors. Yeah, it was.
What was it like? So you've worked it out. It's a complete stitch up. But what was it like knocking on your first door, like walking through? Because I think you can't. Well, got to explain it to someone that's never.
Well, you walk around with someone, so you get to shadow someone for.
Okay.
So I shadowed someone for half the day, and that was fine. You know, you just stand behind them, and you think this is so weird, like. And then while I was doing it, I'm just thinking back to like all these poor people that I've just like laughed out of my house when they've come and knocked on my door when I've been at home, just been like, jog on, guys. Now I'm like, shoes on the other foot here. There's got to be bad karma coming my way. But it's not that bad. And then you start to get a feel for it. And that I had a really good guy, Josh, looking after me. I worked under his team, and he's doing really well at the moment. He's opened up an office for himself on the Gold Coast, and so he's kicking goals, and he was always a good guy to get along with. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but he was really good, nurtured me through the process. Eventually got me to the point of being able to speak. I remember I walked up to the first door and I knocked on. The person came out and went, hi, I'm Alex from the Marta Hospital. This is Josh. He's going to tell you everything about what we're doing today. I was like, I can't talk.
Oh, you completely fumbled and just passed it on.
Yeah, just fumbled the bag. But it was all right. You know, by the end of the day, I was confident enough to get through, because you have a pitch. You have like a sales pitch that you're supposed to run through. And I got through bits and pieces on the first day. But it's really weird. After that, after you get over the initial fear of it, it just becomes common practice. It just didn't really become, it stops being daunting.
Yeah.
And
you just go all in.
Yeah, well, you just start to, you actually stop caring. And if anything that it's done sales-wise for me, helping me sales-wise is, you know, I'm not going to have someone come out of their house and throw an ice brick at me or try and spray me with weed poisoner or.
Is that what they did?
Oh, we had some pretty weird things happen in certain areas. Hey, yeah,
Really?
yeah, we had some weird things happen. There's some
What was the worst suburb you door knocked? Can you remember?
Andergrove in Mackay.
Andy Grove.
Andergrove.
Tell us.
Andergrove was described to us as like the ghetto of Mackay. I've got nothing against Mackay, but being called the ghetto of Mackay, like that sounds. I wouldn't
Send
be
shivers down your bones.
Yeah, ridiculous. And so the story that I actually got spun about it was we're on a trip there. We spent about a week up there, and was that one of the managing directors had actually been told by the police that we shouldn't knock there because it's not safe. And me and a couple of my mates, we were coming to the back end of the trip, and we were G'ing up the guy that was running the road trip, and we were like, oh, we'll go out to Andergrove. The three of us will go out to Andergrove, and Eddie's gone, yeah, you guys can go, and one of the other boys has gone, no. Like, we got told literally no, like it's not safe. And he's gone, nah, it'll be fine, you're going. And we were like, far out, righto. Anyway, and mind you as well, worth mentioning, we work on commission only.
Oh, so had you had any deals that day?
Yeah, for the week, yeah. It's very interesting. As soon as you left Brisbane, you made a fair bit of money. For whatever reason. There's a couple of different reasons, you know, less saturated areas, they don't get visitors as often. We spent a lot of time in mining towns, so a bit more money. And the thing about a Marta Prize home is you're buying raffle tickets in a
sick home.
Yeah, so you're going to spend your money on it because you're getting a return potentially. And where was I going with this?
The hectic suburb in Mackay.
Oh, yeah. And so we'd gone out there and we basically drove in, and first place we started was like a little housing commission area. And, you know, we had no real success. And we got towards the end when we were coming on towards lunch, and we're chatting to a fella that was about our age from Brisbane. He's living there. I think he was either working there for a little while or he was doing a placement for uni. And he was like, yeah, guys, I'm actually going away for a few months. I'm doing a bit of traveling, but I got a house full of beers. Like, do you guys just want to come in? And we were like, yeah, this sucks. Like, let's just stop off and have a couple of beers with this bloke. He seems like a sound enough guy. So we did that, had a bit of lunch, had a couple of beers with him, and went, oh, we haven't really done much today. We should probably go out and keep trying. So we drove to another area, and to put it into perspective, it was the time just after we'd had the fires come through. So not the hectic fires, but the fires that came the year before that took off like central Queensland. So, or not central Queensland, but the central part of the eastern coast. And so we're driving along, and most of the drive towards Mackay, which is 14 hours in itself, is ash and smouldering and embers. But it was the same time that cyclone was coming in from the north. So we'd driven through fire straight into a massive rain depression. And towards the back end of the week, it started getting really hectic. And so we're walking around in the rain, dripping wet, thinking this is just the most ridiculous thing ever. And I remember me and my mate got to this house, and we were like, oh, should we even bother? And yeah, right, we might as well give it a crack. And we're talking to this woman, really lovely lady. And guy comes out, and he was like, yeah, I don't know how to put it politely, but he looked wired as hell. Like, just death staring us. Like this, basically, this get off my property, like, type look in his eyes while we're talking. Me and my mate just went, we must have looked at each other briefly and gone, we need to get out of here. Like, I don't trust this guy. So we end up walking off, and end up all being fine. Go up to the next door, knock on the door, nothing. Dog jumps the fence, chases us down the bloody street. Jump over another fence to get away from it. Anyway, that was fine. And while we're doing it, the other guy we're with standing there chatting to a fella. They're both pissing themselves laughing. So we go over, have a chat to him, walk away. And the guy, so Finn, who was talking to him, goes, guys, I just had the weirdest experience. And we were like, mate, are you kidding? You literally just saw us get chased down the road by a dog that jumped like a 6-foot high fence while you guys were standing there. Tell me how your experience was weirder than what we just went through. And he goes, mate, the guy I was talking to was just telling me that he broke his wrist by going to Airlie Beach as a toolie to beat up schoolies. And we were all just like, we need to get out of here. This is weird.
And is this that was the real bad suburb?
Oh, mate. That
was the worst Mackay.
Yeah. Mackay was nice.
How often would you go travelling around?
I did 4 trips to Toowoomba, which is not that far. Yeah, 4 trips to Toowoomba and Mackay, but every other week there'd be anywhere between like 8 and 20 people out of the office in all through parts of Queensland. Go as high as or as far out as Emerald.
How much money can you make?
You'd have guys that I think someone probably maxed out at about just under 5, around 5K for a week.
A week?
Was the top. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I think the biggest week that I had was just shy of $2,000, but this is all before tax because you're a contractor, so you.
Oh, yep. So you got to do your own ABN,
Got to do your own tax. Yep. There was a couple of guys because Track's a lot of backpackers because it's easy money. You can work as a contractor, and for whatever reason, and we've said this to each other multiple times, but there's something about the pommies that they just know how to sell.
Yeah.
And they can make an absolute killing. And so the best guys in the office were pommies, and 3 of them and another fella went on a 4-week road trip around different parts of Queensland. I think they all came back and they all made about $10,000 in the space of 4 weeks.
Mate, were these guys because when you run your own business, you got to obviously account for tax and all this money's coming into your account. It's pretty easy just to go, it's a slush fund, I'll spend it wherever. Were they managing their books properly? And
no idea.
Yeah. That's what I found hard because I did a similar job to that.
Yeah.
And you're getting paid just in.
Yeah, because what did you do?
I was doing gym sales, like trying to sell gym tickets for a gym membership at Anytime Fitness.
Yep. And
then also ad hoc welding jobs and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I just never put money away, and then I got a tax bill.
Yeah, you get smacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the same thing as, and we've spoken about it with how you could potentially do commission to protect your commission here. You know, working in this type of industry, you could work as a contractor, but it's the same thing. Is it really worth the time and the hassle? The fact that you end up getting taxed anyway, to actually be able to do your finances properly, and at the end of the day, you might make a bit of extra money, but for the hassle, wouldn't you rather just have someone else do it?
Yeah.
So
mate, you smashed out door knocking, and that was 18 months, wasn't it?
No, not quite. It was 11.
11.
And
your CV said 18.
No, it didn't.
No, I'm joking.
Should have.
That's a big haul. How long do people usually last in?
I mean, we'd have people that would last a week. There was people that have been there, that make it their lives.
Yeah, okay.
Because the way that the organisation works is it's multi-level marketing.
Oh, it is. It's like that internally as well.
Yep.
So you build your own little team and you earn off all the little people coming on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
okay.
so
that's how
and
you
then they build their teams, and then
Yeah.
So
does the head door knocker ever door knock? No.
No way. I don't think. Yeah. My managing director, he hadn't been out for a couple of years, I don't think. But I've seen him. I've seen how I could imagine him out there selling. I can imagine him out there making an absolute killing.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy himself. Actually had a lot of contracts, like NRL contracts, and through injuries couldn't keep playing. So went into that and made an absolute killing and was very successful. And
what made you go, I'm just going to hang up the boots?
Mate, when you're walking around, Auchenflower or Toowong, which is hilly as hell in the middle of summer, it's enough to make anyone quit.
Well, you've heard our stories when I started Blended.
Yeah.
We used to trudge around, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
In
sounds
safari
awful.
Outfits.
It sounds awful.
Mate, it's such hard work. And I used to have the app on my phone, about your steps.
Oh, yeah.
10 to 12 Ks.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah.
In a safari outfit with a safari hat on, collecting business cards. I think we got 2,700 business cards, and we worked out we had about a 7 out of 10 strike rate.
Mm.
So what's an extra 30% on that? It's probably 4,000 door knocks.
Yeah.
And then you'd get back to the office, and then that afternoon you'd be trying to punch in all the data so you could call them the next day.
Yeah, mate. If you'd been doing that when I joined.
Makes me tired just thinking about it.
Oh, if you told me we got to go out and knock on some doors today, when I'd started, I'd have been like,
not happening, mate.
Not happening, buddy.
Far out. And then so you left door knocking, and then that's when you got in the timber game, is it?
Yeah. So at the time that I left, I had a small team. I had a team of 8 that I was managing.
Did you enjoy that element?
Yeah, I did. It's a lot of work in that environment because they just have this whole thing on like, you're doing it for yourself. It's your business, you know, because they're paying, you're a contractor. So it's your business and everything. You got to do this, but they suggest it, but it's also like, you should do this because if you don't do this, we're not going to give you more people. So I'm coming in at like 5:30 in the morning doing one-on-ones with all my guys. People are coming in early, doing that kind of stuff. You know, you're working late. You're working till like, and I don't know, maybe I'm just like naive, but to me that was just way too much work, way more work than I was prepared to do, especially for that. So I ended up hanging up the boots, and one of my mates that I was door knocking with at the time, he'd picked up a job doing like sales development work for a flooring company. And he goes, mate, I got a pretty cushy gig here and I reckon we could use one more. I went, righto, well, what are we doing? He goes, oh, mate, I literally just cold call builders and architects and designers all day and just try and book in meetings for the BDMs. Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. He goes, yeah, mate, I sit in aircon. I got all the tools. It's not too bad. And they said they'd be more than happy to bring you on because we're both studying. He goes, because that way we can do 5-day fortnights each. So do 3 and 2 and then 2 and 3. I went, yeah, mate, no worries. And went out and caught up with who was going to be my future boss and had a beer. And it was so funny. The one thing that stood out to him on the CV was the door knocking. He goes, mate, I've done door knocking in my life, residential, and you know, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Anyone that can do that can pick up a phone and cold call a business. I went, too bloody right, mate.
Mate, I told you.
Yeah. So it was literally the reason that.
Yeah.
So I have no resentment towards door knocking because it literally got me into sales, like B2B sales.
Oh, mate, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, started out there and basically started on the phones. And
what do you reckon the big difference is between like consumer residential sales as opposed to business?
It's nowhere near as scary.
B2B.
Yeah, so it's more like, yeah, residential and consumer sales is way more about just, there's no, to say there's no skill behind it is wrong, because there is. But it's way more about numbers and following in a system, you know, way more.
Because they don't know they're getting sold to.
Yeah, but people don't want to be sold. Well, people do or don't, depends how you look at it, want to be sold to. But you don't know anyone that you're going to meet with. You don't understand anything about them, and it's all on the spot. And if you do enough work, you're going to make sales. Whereas I think with the B2B side of things is when you can do reconnaissance and do background information on a company and get an understanding of the key stakeholders and who you're talking to, and you're talking to the same types of businesses every single time, so you build up an understanding of objections and how to handle them and how to get past gatekeepers. You can actually put in and learn skills of how to get over things. Whereas when you're out knocking on random people's doors, they could be anyone.
Yeah.
And there's no way to plan, or it's all about either numbers or just being really good at thinking on your feet.
Yeah, 100%. And then so you start making some appointments. What was that like? Building industry is pretty easy. Everyone catches up with everyone.
Yeah, yes and no. It's clicky's not the right word, but it's the word I'm going with. You know, everyone's got their preferred suppliers. Everyone wants to deal with who they've been dealing with for, and the construction industry's, it's not like some of the like things that we work in, like software, which is a relatively young man's, especially SaaS and those types of companies, young man's game. You know, builders very much on heritage, very much on where they've always been. They get a good deal. They're loyal.
Yeah.
But
when you get them, you get all of them.
Yeah, 100%. You just got to build up that loyalty and that trust. So, yeah, it's still difficult. And you talk about, and I mean, we see how many samples that Deanna has.
Oh, mate.
That's a rat race within itself.
We've got a complete cabinet just for samples.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you're doing this. Did you progressed out of that role though, didn't you? You from appointment setting?
Yeah, so I moved from
full time?
Yeah, so I moved from that into BD. So my mate, he ended up moving on. It's not really wasn't really him. It was good money for him while he was studying, but he's always wanted to be in property. And he works for Cushies now. He's just taken on a full-time role there when he graduated. So it was never really, sales was never really going to be a career for him. Like, he's assistant valuer. and he loves it. So he moved on, and my boss fired his other BDM, and they didn't really have anyone running around. And I just went, yeah, I'll do it. You know,
And that's when you grew your gorgeous head of locks, when you became a BDM.
yeah,
Yeah.
it actually is.
Yeah.
It actually is. I thought, you know what?
And that's when we first met you.
I'm meeting with builders. You know what I should do? Is I should have long hair that they can bully me about. Genius idea. Yeah, so then moved into that and did that for however long I did that. And then before I moved on, I worked back in operations for a little while.
Yep.
Looking after both businesses. So, yeah.
Yeah, nice. And then, mate, the age-old way that everyone gets into recruitment, you fall into it.
Yeah, 100%.
And you just, a C card popped up again?
Well, yeah, so...
How did the whole blended thing happen for you?
Well, so I quit my other job for a few different reasons. It just wasn't a good fit anymore.
But while you were there, we headhunted you for a job by accident.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You hit me
Yeah.
up for bloody, yeah.
Tongue and
For
groove.
tongue and groove. Which you never followed through with, which would have been nice. But anyway, here we are. So
We can still make the intro.
You clearly had an agenda. But no, so and it's funny thinking back on it now because it didn't even really click with me when I started calling and was speaking to Danny that I'd actually spoken to Danny previously.
And met both of us.
Hey?
And met both of us.
Yeah. Well, I knew about you guys because that's why I applied for the ad.
Oh, true.
So what happened was I quit. I took off the Friday, Saturday.
'Cause that's when I was in hospital.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Took off the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and this is in the middle of COVID.
Yeah,
So-
it was a potential lockdown.
Yeah, so not much was really doing. I was just sitting at home with my housemates, enjoying myself, actually having a bit of time off, which was really nice because I was studying full time and working full time, and it just had gotten heaps. And then I jumped on Seek on the Monday morning and saw your ad pop up. I went, oh yeah, recruitment sounds all right. I'll give Declan a call. I know Declan and Deanna. This could be an easy in. And then obviously called through and got Danny, and yeah, Declan's sick. So I submitted my resume and call back 2 days later, and Declan's sick. Righto, fair enough. And call back 2 days later, yeah, mate, he's still sick. And by that time I was like, this fuckwit is ducking me because he knows me and he doesn't want me. I was like, this.
Isn't it funny the thoughts we create in our heads?
Mate.
No, just to give it context, mate, I wasn't sick. I had an abscess in my throat. I was in fucking hospital. I was full on painkillers, and they had to drain it with a syringe down my throat.
Yeah, I know now.
Otherwise, I would have answered.
Yeah, I know now. I was like, I cannot believe this guy. This is so rude.
We're going around to all your mates going, mad plug for this guy. I fucking know him.
No, I didn't even bother. I didn't even talk to anyone about it.
Did you tell your parents? This guy's a flog?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I didn't call you a flog. I said, I can't believe I haven't gotten a call back. Like, surely it warrants at least a vocal no. And yeah, and you know, you eventually called me back, and that was good, and had our first interview, and I was like, yeah, that went all right. And then we got into a bloody lockdown again.
Yeah, and we did your second on video, didn't we?
I had to do my 90-day action plan on video.
Yep.
So, I mean, I guess the lucky thing for me is you didn't really have to show me the office.
Yeah, you're already
Been there before.
We had enough samples, mate, to probably do our own flooring.
Yeah, well, what you end up chucking them all out, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, here we are, mate, 12 months later.
Holy shit. That's gone quick, hey? Do you reckon it's gone quick or long?
Yeah, I reckon it has.
It's flown by.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because...
Because you always told me you'd keep doing this until you didn't enjoy it.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, that's really it, though, isn't it? Like...
Well, that's like me too.
That's what you do with anything. You just you find something you like and you keep doing it until you don't enjoy it anymore.
Yep.
You know, I said that to Ben today. He goes, what's the end game for you with recruitment? I went, I don't know, mate. I'll just do it till I hate it. You know, that could be forever. That could be for another, 6 months. I don't think it will be, but...
A week.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He goes, oh, fair enough. That's what you do. You just... No point doing something you hate.
No. And if you want to find out what you like, pick up the phone and find out.
Yeah, so... But it does feel quick. It does feel like it hasn't taken that long. I don't know if it's because, there's been internal stepping stones and changing of roles, and there's always been... Not lack of consistency, but there's always been a diversity and changes to what's been going on, which is nice. It's fast-paced, and there's always something different happening, and Yeah, it doesn't feel like 12 months.
Yeah, it flies by, hey.
Yeah.
And what do you think when you first started? You placed a role in your first month. Did you were you like, shit, I can be good at this? Or were you thinking, like, this is awesome? Or what am I doing?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I thought, well, at first going through training, which I got to tell you, was not the best.
It was shit training.
Oh, mate, well, he sat on a computer doing training for 3 days, and then,
give us the feedback.
I'm telling you now. I've told you this already.
So what type of training do you prefer?
I don't even know the answer to that. I can just tell you that doing 3 days of that was pretty mind-numbing.
Yeah,
I think maybe splitting it up, and like even 3 days of that would have been fine across the week, but doing 3 full days of it was pretty full on.
You're the first time we've implemented that on.
Yeah.
We haven't done that again.
Yeah, and then I think everything that made it worse was, running around with poor old buddy Matty, and that made everything a lot slower. Bless him. So yeah, and I was thinking, what's this actually like? And get on the phones and...
Because, mate, you got shit quick. I was like, hey, you got to say this, this, this. And you're like, yep, no worries. And then you just say this, this, this.
Well, yeah, it's that simple.
It's like it just clicked.
It's that simple, though.
Do you reckon everyone just wrecks it for themselves and they just overthink it?
Yeah.
They think there's something more to it.
Yeah, definitely.
You just call on a bloke or a female. Hey, I got this job.
Yeah.
Do you want the job?
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's from working. Maybe it's from door knocking where you're told this is the script, follow it, and you know that it works. I don't know. You just have that blind faith.
Yeah.
So when you're told, hey, just say this and you'll be okay. My brain goes, why would he lie? Because this is his business. He's not gonna try and just get me to fail.
Yeah.
Because then he's just spent a whole bunch of money on me for no reason.
Yep. I think that's super important. And if you can follow people blindly, that's like coachability, and that's where you actually learn shit.
Oh yeah, there's a difference between following someone blindly, I guess, and in certain scenarios.
Oh yeah, you don't run them off a bridge, but like in context.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. That I don't even really remember my first month.
Bit of a blur.
I barely remember what I did yesterday, to be perfectly honest.
Do you realize how much you've progressed?
I do when I actively think about it. Not so much from a skill set perspective, because that's really hard to even think about. Well, I find it hard to think about of how I've actually kind of gotten better. But I think from probably a confidence and an understanding perspective, which probably ties into skill set as well, as I see a huge difference. You come back and you're a candidate manager and all you're doing is sourcing candidates, and it takes forever. Like, I remember how long it took me to find candidates when I first started.
Yeah.
It takes a long time, and you find someone and they're shit. And you're like, this is the one. I remember in my the one thing I do remember about my first couple of weeks, and I remember the candidates. I remember them. I know exactly where they work. I remember their names. I remember their longevities. I remember everything about them. And I remember coming to you and coming to Danny and being like, guys, this is the one. They're getting the job. And both of you were like, nah, mate.
We were poking that many holes.
Yeah. Then I proved you guys wrong with good old Mike.
Oh, mate, that's a story. That is, honestly, tell that to everyone. So what was about a 15, 16K deal. You found this bloke.
Well,
CV said Darwin.
Well, yeah, so... He's such a legend too. I really should find some time to catch up with him. I was supposed to last time he was in Melbourne. But obviously you jump on the Seek database and you see that they've been active. And I was like, active? He's showing up in my search. So he must...
And this is your second month?
Yeah. Well, no, it was in my first month.
First month.
He got the job on the first day of my second month.
Yep.
And I was like, he's showing up in my search. I've searched for something very specific. So he's clearly got that background. This is awesome. Look at his resume and go, oh, cool, he hasn't worked for 2 years. Well, me being naive, gone, there's got to be a story behind that, because you wouldn't have touched him. No. You wouldn't have gone anywhere near him. No one in their right mind would have. I wouldn't do it now. Even knowing what I know, I wouldn't go near him now, because I'd be like, red flag, hasn't worked for 2 years. What the hell? yeah, it said Darwin, but his Seek thing was located for Brisbane. I'm just going to give this guy a call and see what the deal is and speak to him. He's a pommy, and he's spinning me a story about how he's been travelling during COVID all throughout Australia and hopping borders and dodging things and doing the Great Australian Travel. And now it's time for him and his partner to move back to Brisbane and settle down, and he wants to move back into energy. And I was like, great, I love this story. That's an awesome narrative. And again, you guys were just like, no way. Why the hell would they hire? Guys, he's a legend. I swear to God, he's a weapon. Look at his sales numbers from a few years ago. Absolute weapon. You guys.
And he's going ahead for a company that's got a $20 billion investor, major energy retailer.
Yeah.
Very corporatized.
Yeah. Nah, guys, it's fine.
We had no faith and you backed him.
Yeah. And I did the video interview with him, and he's, at the time,
Was he in Kakadu or
Nah, he was in
Central Queensland?
I think he was in Adelaide at the time. I'm pretty sure he was in Adelaide at the time from memory.
But his second interview was in Queensland.
Yeah, because he was hightailing it across the border before they shut things down again.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, do the interview with him, and he's using a computer at an Airbnb, not an Airbnb, at a bed and breakfast where he's doing a bit of work there and helping them do things. And my faith started to waver a little bit, but he was so confident and so strong spoken. I was like, well, this guy knows more than I do, so I'm just going to take him on his word. And then I remember we put him on the video interview with him, and he's standing in shorts, t-shirt, and pluggers in the middle of the Queensland desert on the phone to the client. You're thinking, this is ridiculous. This is never going to happen. They call back 20 minutes.
And there was problems before.
Yeah, that's right. No, because he stopped at a servo.
The truck stopped.
Yeah, and he's gone, I'm going to be out of range for the next 2 days. If they can't get on the phone in the next 10 minutes, we're just going to have to put it on hold.
Yeah, I'm like, this is done. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and does the interview, and it was about half an hour, and they called back straight away after. We go, we love him. We want to offer him the job. Does he need more money? I remember I was in the car with you, and you had him on speaker, and the look on your face was like, what do you mean?
Mate, that is one of the most golden stories.
Oh,
You wouldn't read about it.
No, but it just seemed normal. It seemed normal to me because I had no other reason to think that it was. I have no background in recruitment, so this is just how things go. No, it's not. Righto.
And he got the job, mate, and he's going hard. I think he's had a promotion already.
Yeah, he has.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was in Melbourne.
Kitty Ricketts.
The big fella. He was in Melbourne a couple of weeks back. I was supposed to catch up with him, but just couldn't make it happen. So I'll have to try and do it next time.
Yep. That's gold.
Yeah.
And then how do you reckon your mindset's changed? You said you blindly just went for it, but now you're like, think about it? It's because you've done it multiple other times now, being let down, or?
In terms of what, though? In terms of...
Well, you said all of us are like, oh, I would never call someone with a CV like that. But he's this golden goose. And you said, oh, now I wouldn't do the same thing that I did back then.
Yeah, well, you just...
Is that because most of the time you do that, it doesn't work out like
correct.
that? Yeah,
you know, you hear war stories and you hear things that have gone wrong and you experience it yourself, and you just come to accept, like, hey, I got lucky on that one, which is, I reckon, it's a lot of what we do is luck, getting a good person at the right time.
Oh, it's all about timing.
I mean, a lot of it, yeah. You sell someone the role the right way, and they're going to be interested no matter what point they're in. They got to be a little bit. They got to have, a pinky toe out the door. But a lot of it is, you got me at the right time. You got me interested.
Yeah.
Because I'm,
XYZ.
Yeah.
And then, fast forward 12 months now, you're a candidate manager for what, 10 months? 9 months?
10 months? 10 months?
10 months, yep. And then, but mate, I reckon that has helped you get quick runs on the board now you're a recruiter. Because the key at the moment is finding candidates.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously the BD side to things is, it'll come. Like, everything comes over time.
But mate, it's easy at the moment. When I started, you'd be stoked to have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And you'd be cold calling all day.
Yeah, so...
You've got multiple exclusivities and retainers.
Yeah, so the candidate side of things definitely helps. I think just because, as you said, that's the hardest part of the job, is finding a good person at the moment. And being able to quickly scroll through anything and actually just take out bits and pieces. And it's no different to, this is going to sound so stupid now that I'm saying it out loud. It sounded right in my head. But it'd be no different to like a lawyer being able to speed read. You know how lawyers can just speed read and they can pick out from speed reading through contracts and stuff and go bang, 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 this is the key bits of information. It's the same as when you scroll through Instagram, through LinkedIn and through people's CVs, and you don't really look at it, but you have things that just pop out to you and you can actually, and I just think doing that for 10 months, yeah, it just ingrains it in you.
And mate, when you started, you used to be the guy. And now, mate, your vocab, you just, I don't know. It's watching The Office again. Now you've been up.
You one day, this would have been, I reckon, 2 or 3 weeks in, you literally told me that I speak like a yobbo.
But mate,
I went home to mum and dad. I wasn't living. It must have been a Friday. Must have been a Friday because I was going around to mum and dad's for dinner, and I said, "Guys, Declan told me today that I speak like a yobbo." And dad's like, "You kind of do." I went, "Well, yeah, okay. Are you going to take any of the blame for this because I grew up here?" So,
but mate, you sound. Yeah, even D spun around the other day and was like, holy shit, look at Alex. You just like glided into the office and on the phone all day.
Yeah, it was busy yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a busy week. You know, you come up to socialise and then you start working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great being a professional.
And then, mate, a few things I was just looking up before on some topics to get your view on. What do you reckon about this quitting quietly or quietly quitting?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting concept. I think it's weird. I actually don't know if I agree or disagree with it. Yeah, I don't know if quitting is the right terminology to use in it. I understand the point that's getting across. I just think there's better ways to articulate it, and I can't articulate it myself because I can't figure that out. So I guess quietly quitting will do for now. But you know, the concept of moving away from doing overtime and extra work and just doing not the bare minimum, but doing your core hours, getting your work done within those hours, and not really taking phone calls and stuff afterwards. I don't know. I think it's a really smart thing in certain scenarios, and I know we've briefly spoken about this before, but working in sales, you don't always have that luxury because you're chasing a dollar and you get paid on commission. And your commission's based off. Sometimes you got to do that extra work, but I still think there's an element to it that's really important because people don't work themselves to the bone, and so everyone that's doing it looks at it like, oh, I'm not doing the extra hours and nothing's happened. Nothing's happened. I'm less stressed. I'm way happier. I'm not taking outside work calls. I'm just doing all my work in the hours. And it's like, yeah, but do you think that because you're less stressed, you're getting a better quality of work done during the hours? So what you're doing is still mirroring what you were doing, but you're just not doing it over such an elongated period. You know, I look at working from home the majority of the time and not being in the office and, you know, being able to do the house chores and everything during the day to take a break away from work makes all the difference because...
Oh, huge.
There's nothing worse than coming to the end of the week and you're like, Friday night or Saturday afternoon, you're like, I want to go for a beer. I'm going to wear my favourite outfit. And you go, I've got to wash and I've got a shitload of washing to do. And then you're like, and if anyone's like me, and I don't know if Ari will ever watch this, I'll probably force her to. I hate folding. I hate folding. I had a pile of folding grow in our house until last week for a month. I hate folding.
And you were complaining about your housemates?
Hey?
Put a bit of cutlery on the bench. Mate.
It's in my bedroom. I hate it. I can't stand it. But
it's a pile of clothes.
Yeah.
Unfolded.
Yeah. They're clean. But the problem is, I don't mind folding when there's only one load of washing done, but then I get busy and distracted and there's more loads of washing that get put on top and I'm like, this is now a monumental task. But being able to do it, and it's the same with getting your washing done. You know it. You put on one load of washing and it's only a single load and you're like, oh, my washing's done. That's sweet. You have more than one load of washing and you're like, I got to do another load after this. That sucks.
Oh, it's so painful.
I'm not going to bother doing anything. And that takes all the stress out of work day to know that I can get that done during the day, so I don't have to worry about it when I get home, and so I'm not distracted. And I think that whole concept of quitting and that the stress side of thing is very similar to the quality of work that gets done. As I said, you think it's almost like a placebo effect. You think that by doing this, you're like effectively doing less work, but you're probably not.
Yeah. Well, look, you saw me at the start of the year, stressed out of my brains.
Yeah.
Wasn't exactly billing heaps. And now, like, I'm working less, training more, having fun, and working probably normal hours.
Yeah.
And it's just making sure, because it's activity, it's results based. So as long as you get the results in those hours, you don't have to work massive hours.
Yeah, 100%.
How can you have a huge month? And then sometimes I've worked 80-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks, and that'd be a terrible month.
Yeah, and mate, the reality of what we do, and if you wanted to talk about it in like a genuine reality, is if you were to sit down every day and do 3 hours of hardcore solid work, you could easily succeed in recruitment. If you bashed out 3, maybe 4 hours, I mean like half a day's work, but you didn't move and you were completely focused, but that's not really achievable. So that's why you split it up across an entire day.
Yeah.
But, that's really all it is. But you got to be available the other times to take your calls, to
That's why you got to have the power sessions where you just rip in and get it done.
100%. And I think when you realise that, it takes the stress away as well. Because once you, then that was the thing for me, is I just go, I know I can get a result if I really knuckle down and do this. So there's no real stress. And if I start to feel stress, I go, okay, well, let's just shut everything off. Let's spend an hour, 2 hours doing this. I'll get a result.
Yep. And it's that mentality, hey.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to create before you rip in.
Yeah.
And and then the other point was it's a 48-year or 48 or 49-year. This is the worst unemployment ever, the lowest. What do you reckon's going to happen next? Do you reckon it'll continue on?
Everything changes.
Like even when I was just talking to Nick, and he was mentioning a Sparky, one of his clients, they're paying $2,000-$3,000 sign-on bonuses. They're doing everything they can. Macca's are shelling out $1,000 if you sign up to a certain McDonald's for a job. Qantas have their executives.
Might have to go get a weekend job.
Yeah, mate. Flip burgers.
Bloody hell.
Or just say you're going to get the bonus. Yeah, and then the executives from Qantas have been asked to come back and work at the airports because they don't have enough.
Yeah, right.
And there's some crazy... Well, you had a sign-on bonus almost happen. How much was that for that candidate? In Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Fell over.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be...
That was a big one.
Well, yeah, it would have been $15,000. I mean, it came out of a car allowance, but yeah, it would have been a $15,000 upfront bonus. I just think the unemployment thing, it's not gonna last. Nothing ever lasts.
Yeah, but do you reckon with kids, like, there's people on TikTok and crypto that are way younger than us making millions?
Yeah.
Do you reckon the future of work's changing a bit? Where it's not traditional to go in and get it. And that's why we're seeing people that really aren't in as many entry-level jobs. They're in, like, coming in and they're more seen. Because the hardest roles for us to recruit are these entry-level ones. Yeah,
there probably is that to it. But, like, how long is it going to last for? Like, no fad ever lasts. Like, how long really is TikTok going to be relevant? Even Facebook goes through moments of irrelevance.
Back on, it's hot at the moment.
Yeah, it is. But you see when they try and change privacy laws and people go off Facebook, like I got friends that exclusively use Instagram just to message and everything. They don't use Facebook for any of that. And it's probably, like, I don't know if it's a common thing, but people do it. But, Facebook goes through ebbs and flows and it'll never be completely irrelevant, but it's not always going to be the most important thing. And, can TikTok really stand...
No, it's not going to.
The test
of
time?
Cripple an employment.
And you look at things like Be Real now. Like Be Real's coming through. Like,
shit, mate. Should we do ours now?
Has it happened yet? Nah, it hasn't happened yet. But
we'll have to do it later.
But yeah, so like, what happens if that blows up? Do people leave TikTok?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you suppose
I don't know because I don't use TikTok, so I've got no concept of if there's going to be longevity there or not. Everyone I know uses it pretty much within reason.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Yeah,
it's too addictive.
Yeah, I just didn't even bother tempting fate. I'm such an adult.
It's just another one to scroll.
Yeah, it's just another thing to scroll through. Like, I've got Instagram Reels that I get caught on. Why would I need to then... I close down Instagram, I go, got off Reels, finally. Haven't checked TikTok today. Better spend a couple of hours doing that.
And, mate, you enjoying Melbourne?
Yeah.
So you moved down in May.
19th of May, 19th and 20th. I was driving.
3 months tomorrow. Today.
Yeah, 3 months today from when I left. Brisbane. Yeah, it's good. It's
Do you reckon that's you done?
nah.
Do you come back or go overseas?
Yeah, maybe overseas. I've always seen, and mum, mainly because mum would kill me if I didn't. But I'm pretty sure I'll raise a family here. Because being an only child, like if I take mum's grandchild away from her, she'll kill me.
Yeah.
And murder me, and so that she can look after the child.
Are kids on your mind soon, mate?
Not really.
No.
But just thinking objectively, Melbourne's great. You know, it's a real culture shock. There's so much cultural difference there than there is to Brisbane. I can't remember what it was. Me and Ari were talking about something, and I don't know if it was something that she'd heard in passing or something like that, but she actually brought up that, or someone had said, Brisbane is so much more, there's so much more racism in Brisbane than in Melbourne. And like, I don't know if that's true. I'm not here to get into that debate, but there's so much more cultural diversity down there that
they're just way more accepting.
I think to an extent that makes sense, because it just wouldn't stand down there. You know, like we live in Coburg, and that whole inner north area is inundated with like Middle Eastern culture and bits of African culture, and it's amazing because, you know, the food in those areas is insane. It's so good. You know, you've got like kebab and falafel shops and stuff like that every third shop. You could walk in a 5 kilometre radius from our house, and I reckon you couldn't do all of them in a year if you went every day. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Far out.
So getting used to that's been very interesting. To see the effects of, and I hadn't really travelled to Melbourne much prior to COVID, so I don't really have too much backing on this, but it does seem like it really got smashed. They really got smashed by COVID. There is such a high level of homelessness there. Such a high level. Like you walk through the Brisbane CBD and you see homeless people, and you see them every few and far between, but it is so bad in Melbourne. It's awful. And I don't know if that's always been a thing, or if it's been just because of COVID, but yeah, like really, really, really sad and unfortunate stuff.
Far out.
Yeah, it's just very culturally different. So kind of getting used to that and immersing yourself in it is it takes a lot.
But no, it's good.
Yeah,
mate. You've I don't know, work wise, you're absolutely blowing up, smashing it.
Yeah, well, I think the other thing is I went down there and took my foot off the gas in terms of my social life, which my body's still catching up to me because I'm still very, very tired. I think that helped as well, you know, in the lead up to leaving, because I'm obviously going away and all my mates and everything are here, so I'm trying to spend as much time with friends and family and everything. And since being down there, it's been much more slow paced, which has probably helped work.
A nice little change.
Yeah.
No, mate, you're doing well. And then just who's your favourite band at the moment? Just a little get to know Alex. Just let us know who's your favourite band, mate.
Oh, I just had flashbacks to Tell Us a Sneaky Habit.
Tell us a sneaky habit about
I just had flashbacks.
I was about to ask that, and then I said,
flashbacks to that. Favourite band at the moment? I don't really have one at the moment. It just depends on who's released music and what I'm listening to.
Yeah, fair
enough. We are. I'm obviously here to socialise. I'm obviously here to see Gang of Youths, which will be awesome. And it's always special when they tour. You know, they don't come here very often, even though they are Australian.
And what about NRL predictions?
Yeah,
grand final,
mate. I reckon I'm really, really confident that one of South Sydney or like either the Bunnies or the Roosters are going to win it. I just don't know if Penrith are going to be able to pick the momentum back up. And they obviously got the win last night. But if you look at that game and poor old Jackson Barlow.
Oh, mate.
That potentially bombed
The
2, maybe
game.
3 tries. They looked really good. And I think with Latrell being in the form that he's in, Like, he's playing as well as he ever has, but he also seems to have his head on right. Since he took the time off when I think he was injured, wasn't he? But he just looks so calm.
Oh yeah,
and
that's when everything works.
Yeah, and for someone that's always had that hot head and that fiery mentality, and that's to some extent been his undoing in his career. Yeah, if he's got his head on, he's the best player in the NRL.
Yep.
You know, and I guess by the exact same token is you look at what Teddy's done since New South Wales lost Origin. He's been the best player in the comp since they lost Origin. He's just been
100%
wound back the clock. And I just think, I think that, that'd be my tip.
Yeah, sweet. Well, mate, I think we're running out of time because your car's on a hill without fuel and you got a meeting to get to. So, mate, that's been an hour.
Everyone's calling me.
Yeah, we better wrap this up, but thanks for coming on, Coops. You're a valuable member of the team and I love working with you.
Thanks, mate. Love working with you too.
Thanks, fella.